Welcome back to MMA Al Dente. I am the guy who picked Francisco Trinaldo to defeat Michael Chiesa. And I'm here to talk about AoriQileng versus Johnny Munoz Jr. Johnny Munoz Jr. is 12-3 as a pro, 30 years old, and he's got 2 inches of height and reach over 30-year-old AoriQileng, who is 24-10. AoriQileng 24-10. He's got 8 TKOs, just 1 submission, and 15 decisions. And his 10 losses include 1 knockout, 2 submissions, and 7 decisions. The 1 knockout comes in his last fight. That's against Amin Zahabi, and it could be a sign of things to come. He is 30 years old. It could just be that thing that happened once, way back when he was 29 or whatever. But still. You got to wait and see. And I don't even know if he does have a weak chin or if it's starting to crack, if Johnny Munoz is the guy to test that. Not that Johnny Munoz can't crack. He's just much more inclined to grapple. But AoriQileng, yeah, it was his last loss, and it was by knockout. He's been submitted twice. Grigory Popov, former UFC fighter, and this Tajikistan submission guy, this veteran with a great submission game. Those are the 2 guys to sub him. And all other of his losses come by decision. And we've seen some of them in the UFC. Jeff Molina, Cody Durden. He beat Jay Perrin by decision in the UFC, but fell off a little bit in round 3. And that's one of my main doubts about him, to be honest, is his cardio, AoriQileng. I think it's one of those things that, could go away, could change, whatever. You change weight classes, it goes away. But sometimes you just see enough of it where, I thought he fell off big in the Jeff Molina fight in round 3. They started off well in round 1, and by round 3, I was impressed he made it to the final bell. Cody Durden got the better of him in round 3, but that was still a pretty close fight, to be honest, and not a bad loss at all. That's aged well. But the Jay Perrin fight was a fight in which he was cruising, and then he fell off himself in round 3. So I do have some doubts about him and his cardio. And Johnny Munoz Jr., he's a guy that can test the cardio, but he's got to do it if he's able to get takedowns. Or I guess even if he's not able to get takedowns, he's going to be trying to take it down. That's what happened in the Nate Maness fight. That was just one big, long takedown attempt. I do think Johnny Munoz did out-hustle Nate Maness, to be honest, but the decision didn't go his way. And also he was fouled, I believe, in the round 3 against Nate Maness. And he was also fouled in his last fight against Daniel Santos in round 3. Johnny Munoz Jr., he's a guy that wants to get the fight to the ground. He's got 7 submission victories in his 12 wins, 2 TKOs and 3 decisions. He's a really good top game fighter, really good wrestler and grappler. And he does have a good work rate. It's just, sometimes it's just not there for him, and he's not able to adjust. He's not able to figure out a way to get on top, and that includes pulling guard and sweeping and whatever. It's just, he seems a little limited. Sometimes he runs into a wall like Daniel Santos. He has 3 losses, 1 by knockout, 2 by decision. The knockout comes to Tony Gravely, and that is a major strike against his chin. Although Gravely can definitely hit hard, it, still not the greatest look because he was fucked up there. And then the 2 decision losses are to Daniel Santos, as I mentioned, and Nate Maness. And those are fights in which he was unable to dominate with his wrestling. Not for lack of trying, certainly in the Nate Maness fight. But he impressed me going the distance with Daniel Santos all over him. Daniel Santos was mauling him and finding top position and mauling him. And Johnny Munoz Jr. hung in there, although he didn't really, didn't seem like he was figuring out a way to make shit happen in that fight. Kind of shut down. He's got 2 wins in the UFC. Ludovic Sholinian beat him by decision, although that guy, I think, is pretty athletically limited. And he also beat Janie Simmons. Rear naked choked him in round 2. Which, whatever. That guy pretty much came and went. He has one 5-round win outside the UFC, not over the best fighter, but it's good to know Munoz can go 5 hard rounds. And here, I think he's really going to have to push himself against AoriQileng. I think, look, Johnny Munoz Jr. is really good on top. There's a chance he's able to submit him, but it's been a while. I forget the last time AoriQileng was submitted, but those 2 submission losses come some time ago. And in the UFC, even though he's fallen off a bit in round 3, AoriQileng has proven to be a pretty tough out and hard 15-minute fight. So I think this one's going to be pretty close, but I do think Johnny Munoz Jr. is going to hit some takedowns. If he doesn't, I envision a lot of pressuring and some tentative striking from the outside. Because AoriQileng, I'd say he's better than Johnny Munoz, but he's a guy that will allow Munoz into the fight just by being patient. You know, he's a counter striker that allows his opponents to dictate things. And Johnny Munoz Jr., you know, he's going to want to draw openings for takedowns mainly and entries. So I think this one will be a tactical battle, or if it's dominant, it's going to be Johnny Munoz's fight. I'm picking Johnny Munoz. These guys are even at minus 115. In a coin flip, I'm going with the guy that I think is going to win. I bet on Johnny Munoz Jr. Minus 115. AoriQileng, it wouldn't surprise me if he was able to win, but I think it would be a fight in which he defended takedowns and kept the fight on the feet. And even there, Johnny Munoz Jr. is going to have advantages. He's got 2 inches of height, 2 inches of reach. I think he's the better athlete. I think he's a little more comfortable because he's going to be throwing takedowns, so he'll be able to strike more. And I think this is just a pretty tough matchup for AoriQileng. Johnny Munoz Jr. is the pick. Like, share, subscribe, all that horse shit. Check out my other videos.